Okay, here we are. My thoughts on WWE Great Balls of Fire. Yeah, funny pay-per-view name and a funnier backstory with the whole logo thing again. But anyway, starting things off was our kickoff show match, the Cruiserweight Championship match, Neville versus Akira Tazawa. First off, they didn't have Michael Cole announcing this. They had some guy named Vic Joseph calling the match with Corey Graves. Early on, Tazawa countered a shoulder block into an arm drag. Tazawa then hit a big enziguri over the top rope. Neville fell out of the ring. Tazawa went for a suicide dive, and then Neville countered that with an enziguri of his own. Neville tossed Tazawa into the ring barricade. Neville hit a fireman's carry into a face buster, and then followed it with a running single leg drop kick. Tazawa hit back-to-back suicide dives and only got a 2 count. Tazawa countered a fireman's carry into a Black Widow, but Neville managed to get to the ropes. Neville drop-kicked Tazawa, who got tangled up into the ropes and then got drop-kicked 2 more times. Neville countered a second... Tazawa countered a second rope red arrow and then hit a Shining Wizard. He then went for a top rope senton, but Neville rolled out of the ring. Eventually, Tazawa got the upper hand again. He started climbing up the ropes in the back turnbuckle. Neville got just to the point where he could kick the top rope, and it caused Tazawa to basically crotch himself and fall over. Neville then kicked him in the gut and rolled him up for the 3 count and the victory. Really, really good match, especially for a kickoff show match. They put a lot of effort into this. Don't really know what the state of the Cruiserweight division is going to be now. Austin Aries, for those of you who don't know, was granted his release this weekend, and unfortunately it's like they're kind of starting to run out of guys to use here. I mean, Neville's beaten Gallagher, he's beaten Tazawa, he beat Aries, TJP. I have no idea where Brian Kendrick is. So yeah, this is getting left out in the cold pretty darn quickly. Okay, our second match of the night, moving on to the show proper, is Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. Early on, Rollins hit a snapmare and followed it up with a big running knee. Rollins hit a drop kick through the ropes. He then went for a suicide dive, but Wyatt managed to counter that with a fist. Wyatt tosses Rollins off of the ring apron face first into the ring steps. Basically, like they were draped over the ring apron. Wyatt looked like he was going for like a DDT or something. Rollins countered out of it, but Wyatt pushed Rollins, and Rollins basically fell and just landed face first on the ring steps. Wyatt hit a superplex. Wyatt hit a final cut, which is what he was going for earlier. He hit a final cut on the ring apron. Except instead of it being a sort of a dragon sleeper into the move, he went sort of into a front face lock into the move. Rollins hit a flying forearm for a 2 count. Rollins hit a blockbuster for a 2 count. Rollins countered his sister Abigail into a drop kick. Wyatt himself managed to rebound off the ropes and hit a lariat. Wyatt hit a top rope jawbreaker for a 2 count. Rollins began to rally back a little bit. They were brawling with Wyatt kind of on the ropes, sort of over the ropes, but on the ring apron, and he poked Rollins in the eye and then hit the sister Abigail for the 3 count and the victory. This match was pretty forgettable. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that these guys had been sort of main eventing pay-per-views the last few months, I would have probably moved that to the kickoff show. I thought that felt more and more like a kickoff show match. Okay, our third match of the night is Enzo Amore versus Big Cass. Yeah, they broke up the tag team. I think they did this way too early. At least, give them a run with the championships before you do something like this. But I guess they felt the need to do this now. Yeah, this was basically a squash match. I mean, Enzo tried to get a lot of offense in. He went for a single leg takedown, but then Cass just started tossing around, hit a bunch of big splashes, stomped Enzo in the corner, threw Enzo out of the ring and into the ring barricade, and then Cass hits a big boot for a 3 count. Yeah. Squash match. All right, our next match is the 30-minute Iron Man tag team match for the Raw Championships. The Hardys versus Sheamus and Cesaro. Opening up, Sheamus and Matt start off, but Cesaro made like he made a blind tag and then charged at Matt. Matt dodged out of the way just enough for Sheamus to brogue kick him in within 16 seconds. Sheamus and Cesaro are up 1-0. Matt clotheslined Sheamus out of the ring and then pounded his head against the ring apron 10 times to the delete chant. Sheamus hit a knee from the second rope and got a 2 count. Jeff and Cesaro tagged in. Cesaro locked Jeff in a regal stretch for a while. Sheamus tagged back in. Sheamus hit a white noise on Jeff for a 3 count. Well, actually, they double teamed Jeff on a white noise. And for a 3 count, Sheamus and Cesaro are up 2-0. Jeff dodged a charging Sheamus into the ring post. The Hardys hit a side effect twist of fate combo for the 3 count. It's now 2-1, Sheamus and Cesaro. Cesaro tossed Matt into the ring post and got a count out, so it's 3-1, Sheamus and Cesaro. The Hardys hit kind of a double team move. Matt put, I think it was, let's see, on Cesaro. Okay, so Cesaro in a backslide, and then Jeff did his little sort of leg drop to hold the legs, used his legs as sort of a bridge too. And that's how they got the pin, and it's now 3-2, Sheamus and Cesaro. Matt hit a top rope hit twist of fate on Sheamus for a 3 count. This evened things up at 3 apiece. The Hardys hit a double splash and got a 2 count. At this point, Sheamus and Matt were fighting. Cesaro blind tags Sheamus. Jeff comes in and blind tags Matt. Jeff hits a swanton bomb on Sheamus, but then Cesaro runs in and immediately covers Jeff for the 3 count. 4-3, Sheamus and Cesaro, and then Cesaro basically gets up, runs around the ring a couple of times, gets back in, just gets hit with a twist of fate with about 3 seconds left, but unfortunately it's too late, and the buzzer goes off, and Sheamus and Cesaro retain. This was a heck of a match. This match kind of helped turn things really the right way in this show. Crowd was into it. Great storytelling throughout. Good, not overly reliant on the high spots. Got a good story with the whole comeback and equaling things. Didn't end in a draw, which is what happens a lot of times when you see these things happen. So yeah, this was a heck of a match. Okay, our next match is the Raw Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. Immediately Sasha sent Alexa out of the ring with a drop kick. At this point, Alexa got back in the ring. They brawled for a bit. Sasha hit a arm drag into kind of like a face buster. Alexa gets up and her elbow is out of the socket. It's a distraction. This is where they finally confirmed, even though it's been common knowledge for a few months now, that Alexa Bliss is hyperfluid in at least her arms. I don't know about the rest of her body. Alexa then, the two brawled to the outside of the ring, and Alexa began stomping on Sasha, driving her face first into the ring, not the ring apron, the mats on the outside of the ring. Alexa hit a hair pull backbreaker. Sasha began to fight back a little bit, but Alexa hit a sunset flip for a 2 count. Sasha countered Twisted Bliss into a bank statement, but Alexa just got to the ropes and then rolled out of the ring and got the intentional count out loss. So even though Sasha Banks wins, the title does not change hands. This obviously the thing everyone's going to be talking about is Alexa Bliss popping her elbow out, but yeah, this was a pretty good match still. Had a reasonable amount of action. Alexa Bliss is a heel in the truest sense of the term, but she doesn't play sort of tweenerish the way a lot of the other heels nowadays do. The only problem I have, again, is the count-out ending. At least do like a DQ or something. Again, this is the second show in a row where we've had a champion intentionally get counted out. Money in the Bank, the Usos did. So, Yeah, it was just... That's probably the only real sour note on this, though. I still like the match. Okay, just one more note before we move on to the next match. Alexa and Sasha began brawling outside the ring after she got counted out. Sasha then jumped off of the announce table they have now at the corner of the ramp. It hit her flying knees onto Alexa Bliss. Okay, after that, we have the Intercontinental Championship match, The Miz versus Dean Ambrose. Immediately, Ambrose goes right after the Miz Taraj of Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. Ambrose hit a running cross body. Miz came back with a DDT. Miz hit a corner clothesline. Ambrose hit a superplex for a 2 count, and then got back to the outside of the ring and went after Axel and Dallas again. Miz started hitting, locked on a figure 4 after tweaking Ambrose's knee. Miz then started landing the it kicks, as he calls them. Those are the Daniel Bryan yes kicks. Ambrose started to rally back, but Maurice distracted the ref. Ambrose hit Dirty Deeds, but then Maurice pulled Miz's foot onto the top rope. Some more shenanigans ensued. Bo Dallas clocks Ambrose in the back of the head and then enables Miz to hit the skull-crushing finale for the 3 count and the win. Yeah, this was kind of a filler match for what happened next. Didn't think they were going to take the title off the Miz as soon as they just put it on him, so... the only thing is, the rumor is they're trying to set up for the Miz-Maurice breakup angle, but at this point that seems to have gone bye-bye, so I don't know what to make of that. Alright, our next match is the ambulance match between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. Right off the bat, Reigns tried to go for a move, but Strowman just knocked him down. Strowman then hit Reigns with some splashes in the corner. Reigns managed to fight back and sent Strowman flying into the ring post. Strowman went after Reigns with the ring steps at this point. Strowman hit his face-first chokeslam where he picks them up like he's goozling them, but instead of throwing them backwards, he actually pulls them forwards down onto the mat. Reigns dodged a charging Strowman and managed to then hit a Samoan drop. Reigns then hit Strowman with a chair, and Strowman at this point started to no-sell it. The two began brawling up the ramp at this point. They got to the ambulance. Strowman threw Reigns into the side of the ambulance. They got the back door open. Reigns smashed Strowman's head against one of the windows to the point that it cracked. They then fought back up onto the ramp, and they fell through the LED screens at the top of the ramp. Strowman then shoved Reigns off the ramp again. Reigns hit Strowman with a light grid and then immediately went for a spear, but Strowman just dodged it and Reigns flew into the ambulance. Strowman immediately closes the doors and gets the victory. But that's not the end of things. After that, Reigns storms out of the ambulance, spears Strowman a couple of times, gets Strowman in the ambulance. Reigns then starts driving it off. He gets to this one point. He stops, he looks back, and he reverses the ambulance. He goes into reverse, and he smashes it into one of the production trucks at full speed. At this point, the emergency workers start coming out. Kurt Angle is standing there just shocked. Reigns just walks off. At this point, Kurt Angle sends 2 guys out to have a match to distract the audience, to keep them from coming into the backstage area to take pictures. It's Kurt Hawkins and Heath Slater. So this is just a time killer match. Hawkins dodged a clothesline and went for a slam. He locked on a chin lock. We then cut backstage. The pin happens off screen. Heath Slater won. You then see Strowman emerge from the ambulance, fight off the workers, basically say, no, I don't need help, and he somehow manages to just get to his feet. His face is just covered with blood. It's matted into his beard, and he looks back, and he just kind of walks off, and everyone's just kind of standing there like, okay. The whole time they're playing this kind of serious, but it was kind of hard to take it seriously because it was so. It was enjoyably stupid. I mean, the match was actually, again, surprisingly good, given that you thought after the first couple of matches they pretty much exhausted everything. I actually liked the finish with, not so much the ambulance crashing in that part, but the finish of the match proper, where Strowman dodges a spear, and that is what enables him to get the victory. I do have to wonder what this means, though, because again, there's 40 billion rumors with what they're planning to do. SummerSlam is either going to be Lesnar Reigns, Lesnar Strowman, or another Lesnar Joe match, which we'll get to when we get to that. Okay, our final match of the night is the WWE Universal Championship match. Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. To start things off, Paul Heyman is doing his intro, and immediately Joe just drills Lesnar and sends him out of the ring. Joe hits an Uranagi on to the German announce table. Joe then began pounding on Lesnar in the corner, just drilling him into the corner. Lesnar then fought back out and drove Joe into the corner. Sorry. Joe tried to lock on a Coquina clutch, but Lesnar fought on it and hit Joe with a few suplexes. Joe distracted the ref, and that enabled him to hit a low blow on Lesnar. Joe locked on a Coquina clutch again. Lesnar managed to drive him into the corner. Lesnar fought out of it again and started hitting more suplexes. Joe fought back another time. This all is happening within the span of about, I'd say, 8 minutes. This is how intense this match was. They just kept pounding on each other back and forth. Joe constantly trying to lock on the Coquina clutch. Joe counters out of an F5 into a Coquina clutch, but eventually Lesnar managed to fight out of it into an F5 and the 3 count and the victory. Lesnar retains. Like I said, this was a very short match, but it was so intense. This is where I thought the Goldberg matches, the Lesnar-Goldberg match from Survivor Series and the Goldberg-Owens match at Fastlane really failed. Again, I don't mind the idea of having a short match, but do something like this where it's just intense and these two guys are pounding each other, and then one of them just kind of slips up a little bit. That's how you do this story. That's why this worked. Anyway, on to the show overall. I'm going to give this show an A. I mean, there really weren't any bad matches per se. It was just, there were, a forgettable match, and, the squash match, basically. Other than that, though, every other match was pretty darn good. I'm not counting the Hawkins Slater matches. That was just kind of, obviously that was meant to be filler. It didn't even do a good job of distracting everyone, because right in the middle of the match, they cut backstage, and the pin happens off screen. So, yeah. But, again, I'm not really counting that. I said before, I'm giving this an A. Okay, so the next video up is, in all likelihood, going to be the random trade review on the question. Don't really have any plans for any movies for this week, unless something else happens. Patreon! Anyway, see you all then. Hey guys, Tired of me constantly talking only about WWE and NXT? Want to see me cover something like Ring of Honor or New Japan or anything else? Go to my Patreon page and see how you can help make that happen. Links in the description.